I'm Norman B, and you're tuned to Deviations from the Norm. Well, actually, it's tagged. You're it. I've been tagged, and I'm supposed to tag 5 of you. With this thing, give 5 facts about myself. Well, if you would like to turn to the part of the video that number 1 is on, number 1, you'll see this number 1. And when I'm doing number 2, you'll see number 2. So this is like the table of contents here. Number 1 is about my ancestry and family and culture. Be right with that in a second. Number 2 is about my education and hobby, which are the same thing. Number 3 is about my performing career. Number 4 is number 4 is about my travel, and number 5 is about my love. So here we go with number 1. Number 1, my family, ancestry, and culture. Well, my family were beekeepers, and that's why my name is Norman B. 1,000 years ago or so, my family were beekeepers on the continent. About 500 years ago, 1509, they moved to Grimstad, Norway from Denmark. The bees, der gamle Bierslechte, as they're called. Bia is the way it was pronounced in Norwegian. Now, there in Norway, my great-grandmother, Nora Schillerud Bie. Now, my name's Norman Schillerud Bie, but Nora Schillerud Bie was the famous Nora of A Doll's House by Ibsen. Nora's the inspiration for the women's rights movement. So, dig it. That's my great-grandmother. Nora Schillerud Bie. Her brother was Ola Schillerud, one of Ibsen's first backer, I think perhaps his first financial backer. Now, I'm Norwegian on my father's side, and English-German on my mother's side, but really Southern American slaves in my ancestry. One of my grandfathers was a music critic. The other one was a musician. My grandmother was a musician, and my mother taught me about storytelling, and my father taught me about storytelling. My brothers and my sister taught me. My father was a musician, a composer, a painter, and he also did some translation and poetry. And so it goes. That was number 1. Number 1. We're coming up to number 2. Alright, maybe we'll cut this part out. Well, 2. Education and hobby. Yeah, well, I'm a book collector. I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of books. You see some of them occasionally on these videos. I love books, and I especially have passion for ancient literature, and especially Greek mythology and the Roman writers, and Norse literature of the medieval period. The Eddas and sagas, that is, and even on up through other Norse literature, Hamlet, Beowulf. Even though they're English, they're Norse. I majored in pharmacy, classics, journalism, and literature. Graduated at the top of my class in high school and college. Let's see, I taught a class at UMass in American Experience. I taught a workshop in Florida for middle school students about how to tell stories. I'm currently part of the faculty of Springfield Technical Community College. I don't know how that happened. Well, I'm studying and teaching all I can. Let's see, I graduated from the American Comedy Institute in New York City. I study many disciplines. Oh yes, and also some of my work was part of the curriculum at the Ringling Clown College in Sarasota, Florida. Another big part of my education was I was tortured by the police June 6th, 1981. My back was broken during this torture. My eyes hemorrhaged. 2 of my typing fingers were permanently paralyzed. Yeah, my eyes hemorrhaged, by the way. That means after the police finished the torture, my eyes were very, very red, completely red. Red like that book, not red like Bloodshot. Red, completely red. Well, so much for teaching and learning and education. I'm into many mental disciplines. Well, we're going to number 3 now. Number 3. Oh, that's hard to read. Okay, but backwards anyway. Number 3, my performance career. Well, I'm an entertainer, activist, poet, entertainer, activist. I'm a writer all my life, but I became a poet at some point. There was this, well, I took a Sri Chinmoy class in silent meditating, and there was no teaching, just silence, but it was life-changing, and I immediately became a poet that night. And I have been ever since, poet and activist, full-time. Had a bunch of long-running shows. I've had a bunch of small publications of writings and recordings, open for a bunch of people. I opened for Iron Butterfly, I opened for Jerry Brown when he's running for president. Sun Ra. Let's see, my work was praised by Jerry Garcia, by country musician Ricky Skaggs, by hardcore performance artist G.G. Allen. My work was praised by diverse political entities. Yes, by presidential son Chip Carter, U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown, Democrat of Ohio, and Yippie Pie thrower Aaron Kay. I've been on WMNF 88.5 in Tampa, Florida, community activist station down there, and I've been on the radio over 300 times. I've been on television over 100 times, and oh, comedy clubs and nightclubs and acting in shows. Even I guess that's enough. Well, number 4. Number 4, travel. Well, I've been a traveler. I've gone to 46 states. Went to a lot of rainbow gatherings, went to a lot of concerts. I've been all over Florida and all over the continental United States. And let's see, I've seen a lot of nature and a lot of ancient sites, a lot of animals up close in this time. And one interesting one was when I was doing this acting gig called Crazy Al's Haunted Hayride. I stayed on a bison farm, the only bison farm in New England, and to really get into the character, I lived in the Crazy Al house, out in the snow with no heat, no electricity. And Crazy Al was a cannibal farmer. Lots of fun for a Halloween show. Went on for years and years, this show. But the bison really loved me, and they ran over to be with. I was even acted with a bison in a TV commercial, even though bison can't be trained. Dig that, I acted with a bison. Number 5. Number 5. Oh, number 5. Let me just write that down here. 5. Number 5 is my love. My love. I came here, I moved here 12 years ago. I first came here, about 12 and a half years ago, and I first started being in love with Rachel about 14 years ago, and that's why I moved to New England. Why would somebody from Florida move to Massachusetts? Because of the warmth of Rachel's love. I love her very much. She's beautiful. She's brilliant. She's the one who's brought me into YouTube and helped me out with so many other things. I'm so lucky to be with her. And that's that.
Okay.
Thank you and good night. My father